you, Henry, and thank you to Josh and Jen for organizing this today. You know, it's very easy to vote no. It's very easy to say what you're against, and it's very easy to point the finger at the other side. It is a lot harder to do the work of legislating, and everybody here is committed to actually legislating on the issues that matter to the American people, on the issue of affordability, on the issue of addressing healthcare costs, housing costs, energy and fuel costs, and food and grocery costs. That is what the American people expect us to do. They expect us to work together in a bipartisan way to actually come up with solutions. And the reality is, if you want to make lasting change in this country, if you want to actually accomplish something that impacts the vast majority of Americans, it cannot be done without bipartisan support. So this group is coming together today to say to our leadership on both sides, enough. We have a responsibility before the end of the year to pass a bill that will address the issue of healthcare costs in this country. We can all sit here and go through the perils of our healthcare system. It is a disaster from start to finish. The question is, how do we deal with this in the immediate and the long term? The immediate requires passage of an extension on the enhanced premium tax credit for the Affordable Care Act. It is expiring at the end of this year. We are talking about whether or not the federal government is subsidizing a plan to the tune of 78% or 88%. But that difference means a lot to the 24 million people who are impacted by it. And so we need to address that by having a 2-year extension with reforms that will address some of the concerns that have been raised about these temporary tax credits that were put in place during COVID, while addressing some of the longer-term issues with healthcare, including the insurance companies. When you have an insurance company like United Healthcare owning primary care practice, that needs to be addressed. That is a fundamental problem. So we have to look at how we address the longer-term impacts of healthcare and how we actually reduce costs, increase access, and improve quality of care. But in the immediate, we are focused on getting a bill passed by the end of this year to ensure that Americans who are on the open exchange, who rely on these premium tax credits, do not see a health insurance spike. It requires all of us working together and our leadership focusing on getting a solution rather than a political win. That is what is critical. We need a solution, not a political win.